Hey guys, Drutter here. It's August the 23rd, 2019, and I'm just going to read you an article I just put up on steemit.com, and the link is down below, but I wanted to make it into a video to get this information out. And the title is Bank of England Announces Global Virtual Currency New World Order. The game is changing, says Mark Carney, one of the world's most powerful central bankers. He is the central banker for the Bank of England currently, but he was for the Bank of Canada for years before that, and I believe Goldman Sachs before that. The link to his full statement is down below also. Just the acknowledgement that the game is changing is huge. In fact, just the acknowledgement that it's a game is huge. For years, many of us following the global financial situation have known that one way or another it can't go on like this much longer. Normalcy bias prevented the mainstream from being able to see it. Some still don't realize their current way of life is coming to an end, despite the banks that run our lives announcing it openly. We need a completely new global monetary system, Carney says. Of course, the devil's in the details. A new global system could free mankind from tyranny and bring on a new renaissance, or it could spell the end of freedom for most members of our species. Carney, significantly, admits the US dollar hegemony is failing and claims that China's currency, the renminbi, isn't yet ready to assume world reserve currency status. He then claims there isn't enough physical gold in the world to act as money, and announces the new system will be, quote, based on the virtual rather than the physical. Don't like the sounds of that already. That is the birth of the cashless society. If you'll follow along, he says, transactions are taking place increasingly through electronic payments over cash. The world doesn't want to put up with the US economic dominance anymore, he points out, which is probably true. Protectionism and instability threaten the current global economy with a liquidity trap. The solution he proposes is a synthetic hegemonic currency, the SHC, a basket of virtual currencies like Libra, Facebook's virtual currency, created by a network of central banks. Backed by the same thing as fiat currencies of today, absolutely nothing but technocratic decree. Carney believes implementation of the SHC, aka SHEK or shekel, will require a tripling of the current size and power of the International Monetary Fund. Carney writes, in the New World Order, a reliance on keeping one's house in order, I'm not sure why he used that word again in the sentence, is no longer significant. A reliance on keeping one's house in order is no longer significant. The neighborhood, too, must change. In other words, the whole world, the whole system must change. We are all responsible. In other words, the individual is no longer sovereign. Only the global system matters. It is a rejection of the concept of individual liberty and a call to globalism and collectivism. Fitting that the call comes from London. For centuries, the Bank of England issued only gold, silver, and copper as money. Each penny was about a third of an ounce of copper bullion. And my analysis is, for us monetary theorists, moments like this are like when Nixon closed the gold window, like when Bernanke announced quantitative easing, like when Congress signed the Federal Reserve Act. Usually, these moments are barely noticed by the majority of people when they happen, but they change the planet and the lives of everybody on it. The central banks know if they're to retain control over the world's financial systems and all the profit and power that comes along with them, they must act quickly. But do we actually need central banks? Why should private groups decide interest rates or set the value of currencies? Do we even need banks anymore? I don't need anyone to hold my currency for me. I have crypto wallets and private keys now. I don't need their currency conversion, money changing, or their loans. I don't need them to store my precious metals. My safe does that. Increasingly, I don't even need them for making payments. Banks are obsolete, and they know it. They're grasping at anything to keep themselves powerful and relevant in a world that has outgrown them. Mark Carney likened the SHC concept to Libra, Facebook's virtual currency. Why didn't he liken it to the far more well-known digital currency, Bitcoin? The answer is because Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency, while Libra and SHC will be virtual currencies, just like video game gold or the Canadian Tire dollar. This signals the intention of the technocrats to deny us privacy, adaptability, and decentralization. The free market is impossible to destroy and will always exist as long as there are free people. But they're not done trying, and this time they're playing for all the marbles. Consider this your final written notice of the New World Order, and isn't it interesting they actually used that word? There are some famous speeches through history in the past 10 or 20 years, I think starting with maybe George Bush Sr., I think was one of the first ones to say it, and this phrase has been used several times in very important prophetic speeches throughout history. So here's another one today from Mark Carney, the Bank of England director, one of the most powerful central bankers in the world, and he says that now the world is moving into a virtual currency, a global one world currency, and a new world order. Talk to you guys soon.